My my second deployment, we were specifically tasked with route clearance, which is specifically the job of going out and looking for the improvised and explosive devices that are laid by the enemy to disrupt what the U.S. forces or the Iraqi forces are trying to do. So they were specifically targeting Americans with the IEDs when I went back in 2007. So it was a very meaningful mission for me from the start, knowing that I would be saving American lives every day. Unfortunately, the enemy's as versed in this deadly game as we are, so being there that long and doing the same missions over and over, they started to learn that we would run our route, and our tactics were to call the route clear and then drive back to our base the same way we had cleared because it was quote-unquote safe. But after we did this for a number of months, they learned that we were going to drive back that way. So the day I was injured, we actually called our route clear, and they came in behind us and placed a dual array EFP, which is actually one of the worst types of IED. EFP stands for explosively formed projectile, and what that means, it's an inverted copper cone, and when it's initiated, the explosive material turns the copper cone into a molten copper slug, which makes it armor defeating. So I was in an armored vehicle, but it came through the door of my vehicle and actually concaved my Kevlar helmet into the right hemisphere of my brain. And there were, unfortunately, two of these devices. The second one came in behind me and killed my friend Brad that was sitting behind me. So it was just a very bad day. Initially, there was a casualty notification team that came to my parents' home to tell them their son had been killed in combat. But then later so that night my mom, I can't imagine what she was thinking, but a few hours later they got a call from an Army casualty assistance officer that worked in, I'm not sure where he was based, but he gave her some more information and said that actually I had life-threatening injuries, but I was still alive. But at the time, I couldn't move home because in order to move home, I had to move back in with my parents, and they didn't have an accessible bathroom for me to use. So I remember when I was in Minneapolis, as I said, I was still on active duty, so I had to request leave time from the Army to leave the facility. And I don't remember why, but there was an occasion where I came home for a weekend. And while I was home on this weekend pass, I had a meeting with some individuals that had reached out to my family and wanted to support us. And it was just a meeting at a coffee shop with a couple guys that founded a charity. And I remember going into the meeting, my mom and I were both kind of leery about what this was going to be, because not knowing at that point who wanted to help or what they wanted from me, what were their motivations. But I remember my mom and I went and met these two individuals at this coffee house, and they told us what their idea was for the Joshua Chamberlain Society. And at that point, they were asking if I would be interested in being the first Joshua Chamberlain Society hero. And what they offered was overwhelming to me at the time. I remember it was the opportunity to move home because they wanted to adopt me into the JCS family, and they wanted to come in and remodel my mom's house so that I would be able to move home. So after that meeting, I went back to Minneapolis with the idea that I was going to be able to come home in a matter of however long, but that it was finally a possibility. I remember it was something that was difficult for me at first. In a number of conversations I've had with the leadership of the society since, we've kind of other JCS heroes have also been uncomfortable with the term because a number of us say I'm not the hero. My friends that didn't come back are heroes, and I think it took a long time for me to learn that given the different kind of sacrifices that I and my other fellow heroes have made, it's important for us to accept that term, and it's important not only for our own conceptualization of ourselves, but it's important for the way the world sees us and the way that our fellow Americans interact with us.